Greetings and welcome, internet friends. Mr. Waddy and my friends in real life. We just met today. Internet friends, do you think I can trust these people? I don't know. I guess they were on my attendance this morning. They're probably supposed to be here. Okay, all right, internet friends, I'm worried. What if they find out I can't do math? Okay, here we go. We're going to talk today about like adding and subtracting integers. All right, integers are numbers. They're counting numbers. They are not fractions or decimals. All of the numbers on the screen here are called integers. And I want to start by telling a story about friendship. Ooh, here we go. Imagine 2 is a freshman in high school, and 2 is I don't know if you realize this, but this 2 is positive. 2 is a pretty good, pretty decent person here. All right, maybe they play sports or something. They do their homework. Right, they don't swear or nothing. They're a positive person. And then 2 becomes friends. They add up with 5, and 5 is just like even more positive than 2 is, right? 2 is pretty positive, but 5 is more positive than 2. 5 is like got a soup kitchen. They're like class president. They're right, fighting all sorts of injustice. Right, they're doing all sorts of things. They invented, I don't know, like something that makes free energy for poor people. Right, they do all sorts of stuff. They're just like super positive. And when a positive person and a positive person become friends, they're going to have a positive outcome, right? They will become a greater force for good. They will become the International League of Justice, right? They're like superheroes. They're together working to fight for good. And so when I add 2 numbers that are both positive, they become more positive. And 2 plus 5, you guys probably knew this like 3 minutes ago, is 7. Right, and so they form a force for good, right? They're helping the world. It's wonderful, wonderful. Guys, let me tell you a sad story. Here's -3. -3 started school this year. They're a student. Maybe they didn't do homework sometimes. Ugh. When they play Call of Duty, they camp sometimes. Ugh. Man, come on, man. Right? They swear on occasion. So -3, this 3 is negative, right? Not the most, they're not positive. Kind of pulling us down a little bit. But then they became friends with -7. And -7 is a bad dude. Let me tell you, -7, they sneak in to the soup kitchen that 5 started and steal the soup so that the homeless people don't get it. Right? -7 is like kidnapping dogs and making them deal drugs. Oh my goodness. Like, just 7, -7 is just like a bad dude, right? And -3 and -7 are like, hey, let's team up on this. And they start like a gang now. Yeah. They become more negative, right? Adding 2 numbers that have the same sign become more negative. And I would add their influence together. 3 and 7 adds to be 10, and that 10 is negative, right? So now they are doing all sorts of terrible, terrible things. Oh, man. Those poor dogs that are stuck dealing drugs now and just for some kibble. Oh, man. And -3 has just gotten pulled down even more by choosing to become friends with -7. And now, guys, here's the saddest story. Remember 2? Right, that would play sports and wouldn't swear and would do their homework. Here's 2, and what if 2 becomes friends with -3? Now, -3, right, like they're kind of pulling 2 down, and the question is this going to be a positive or negative outcome? Who's pulling the other? Is 2 pulling -3 up, or is -3 pulling 2 more down? Who is more influential, if I would, right? Who's going to be the better influence on the other? And it turns out that 2 is not as influential as -3. As a mathematician, I would say, which has the greater absolute value? And perhaps you guys can answer that for me. Who is further from 0, 2 or -3? -3, right? -3 is more influential. So because these signs are different, right, a positive and a negative, I'm going to subtract them. So different signs mean I take a difference. And 3 minus 2, What's 3 minus 2? Is 1. And it's the more influential number is the one whose sign I take. And so, oh man, 2. Why'd you have to go? 2 was just like attracted to the bad boy and was all like, I don't care, Dad, I'm gonna date this guy. And man, it wasn't the best outcome. Yeah. Man, I don't know. But anyways, and now here's the best story, friends. 5. Remember 5? The one that started the soup kitchen? 5's like, hey, -3, don't be so down on yourself. I see some potential in you. -3, you could become the president of the school. -3, you could be a force for good in this world. And 5 and -3 become friends. And their signs are different, right? 5 is positive, 3 is negative. And so I'm going to take the difference of those numbers. What's 5 minus 3? It's 2. And whose sign will I take? Who was more influential? The 5 was more influential than the -3. So I'm going to take the positive. And guys, it's like the redemption story. -3 is now doing good, right? It's beautiful. It's like, I don't know, like Captain America and the Winter Soldier or something. I don't know, Bucky. So, I don't know. I never saw the rest of the other movies. I don't know what happens. Don't spoil it for me. Don't spoil it. But the idea is this. When you're adding numbers and they have the same sign, you add their absolute values, right? 3 plus 7 is 10, and then you keep the sign. When you're adding numbers and their signs are different, you take the difference, you subtract the numbers. 3 minus 2 is 1, and then you take the sign of the one that had the larger absolute value. So I think we all learned a little something about friendship, yeah, about math, which is about all you could hope for on any given day. I would like to think so. So let's see. Let's take a look at it. Example 1 here. Now that we've learned this story, and let's see. Here's example 1. You guys are following along. You got your notes. I've got -2 plus -4. It says adding integers with the same sign. So what do I do with these? Can someone help me out? Do I subtract 2 and 4? Do I add 2 and 4? I'm going to add them because they have the same sign. So 2 and 4 adds to be 6. And what sign will it keep? Negative. It became more negative. It's like if you go to your friend, hey, can I borrow $2 for lunch? Thanks. And then you go back, hey, can I borrow $4? I really want to buy this hat. And then they're like, all right, here you go. You now owe them more money. It became more negative. So yeah, so it becomes more negative. Use a number line to check. We won't do that right now. We won't. Actually, tell you what, watch this. Ready? A swoop. I can just, bam. There's your number line, friend. I don't want to take too much time doing that. But yeah, so if I start at 0, -2, I would move to the left 2. And then subtract 4 from that, or add a -4. That's going to say move 4 more to the left. And notice I do land at -6. Right. So let's see. And then I basically explained this with my story. I like my story better than necessarily doing all this absolute value stuff. Let's talk about who's more influential when you're adding numbers that have different signs. Here's example 2. So part A, 5 plus -10. Signs are different, so I subtract them. What's 10 minus 5? 10 minus 5 is 5. And who's more influential? Well, 10 is further from 0, right? So I'm going to take the negative sign. So -5 is what I would have. All right, how about this? -3 plus 7. Their signs are different, right? -3 and a +7. So I'm going to subtract the numbers. And sometimes like doing like -3 and 7, that might weird you out. I get thrown off by that. So I'm just going to do 7 minus 3. 7 minus 3 is 4. And who was more influential? The positive was, right? So this is going to be a +4, which I don't have to write that plus sign. I'll just call that 4. Ooh. Guys, wow, this is weird. So their signs are different. So I subtract them. 12 minus 12 is 0. And who was more influential? They were equally influential. They had the same absolute value. So is it positive or negative? Neither. 0 is neither positive nor negative. It's just 0. It does just be 0. All right. Here, let's have you guys flip the pages just a few times for me. I'm going to jump on down to subtracting. Which really, subtracting is going to be super easy for you guys. Right? Yeah, you guys already know this. Here's the key idea. Really, it's just like that whole episode of SpongeBob when it was opposite day. It's just that all over again. It says to subtract an integer, add its opposite. All right, it's not enough to look like Squidward. You got to act like them too. All right, so 3 minus 4, notice they're saying that's the same as 3 plus negative 4. Same thing. All right, and so 3 plus negative 4, I would have then realized, okay, I'm adding two things with different signs. So I'd subtract them. 4 minus 3 is 1. And then who was more influential, positive 3 or negative 4? Negative 4, so it's a negative 1. And they do the number line thing. That might help you out. I don't know. Maybe. All right. So let's do some of these. Let's look at example 1 from this batch. Here we go. All right, so you guys can find this somewhere. It's like the second example 1. Sorry, our notes today have like multiple 1s and 2s and 3s. That's not the most helpful. All right, so 3 minus 12. Let's rewrite that as adding the opposite. So that's going to be the same as 3 plus a negative 12. All right, same thing. Equal is kind of how we describe the same thing in the land of math. And 3 plus negative 12, their signs are different. So I'm going to subtract the numbers. 12 minus 3, what's 3 less than 12? 12 minus 3 is 9. And who was more influential? Negative 12, pulling me down, man. So it's a negative 9 because negative 12 had the bigger absolute value is how mathematicians would say it. But I just say, hey, who was more influential, right? Okay, oh dear. All right, negative 8 minus a negative 13. They said to change that to adding the opposite. So that's going to be negative 8 plus, and instead of negative 13, what's the opposite of negative 13, friends? That's positive 13. Yeah. And let's see, their signs are different now. So negative and positive. So I'm going to subtract. 13 minus 8 is 5, I think. And who is more influential? Well, in my rewrite, yeah, the positive 13. All right. And so it's positive 5, which I don't have to write that plus sign in front of it. So that's what I get. Minus a negative. The other way that I've seen students write this is minus this negative. Notice this. Minusing a negative is the same as, right, adding a positive. You could kind of almost like see those minus signs in those parentheses just like come together and form a big plus sign, right? Right? Minusing a negative is the same as adding a positive, which is exactly what I wrote there. All right, 5 minus a negative 4 is the same as 5 plus a positive 4. And their signs are the same. So do I add them or subtract them? Add them. Here we go. 5 plus 4 is 9. And these were both positive, so they're just going to become more positive, right? It's like you earned $5 for cleaning your room, then you earned another $4 for, I don't know, like feeding the cat. Sure, there you go. My imagination ran out right at the end there. So let's see. I think internet friends, I think I'm good. So I'm going to say bye to y'all, internet friends. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.